This is the Third Culture Kids Show. I am Sam and the host of the show. We aim to encourage third culture kids to identify their multicultural background and embrace it. If you don't know who third culture kids are kids who have spent their formative years in places that are not their parents' homeland.
I'm Sas, and my third culture is Bahrain and Sri Lankan combined. I was born and raised in Bahrain, but I started off in Bahrain, and then I moved to Sri Lanka and then for a few years, and then I moved to the United Kingdom for a few years as well. And then I returned back to Bahrain, and ever since I've been living there. So it's been probably a total of 16 years in Bahrain. So that's most of my life, yeah.
So what does being a third culture kid mean to you?
Being a third culture kid means that you are a lot more culturally aware of things. You would know how to adapt to certain situation that has something to do with culture. So you're exposed more to the world and you learn a lot around you. Because you're a third culture kid, you meet a lot of other third culture kids, and because of this, they influence you to learn about their cultures and where they're from. So yeah, it's a lot of information that you can get naturally.
So most of your friends are also third culture kids?
Yes, a lot of my friends from high school and school where I started, we are all third culture kids, and we were all in one class. Then they would separate the local kids and the international students, and this would make, and all of them are mostly third culture anyway, so yeah.
Do you know why they did that?
I think it's mostly because of language barriers and how the teachers would interact with the students. It makes it easier for them. I did wish that I got to know a lot of the local students more.
Now that you're here, do you also interact with mostly third culture kids, or do you have a lot of local friends here?
Do you mean in Malaysia?
Yes.
In Malaysia, a lot of the friends I've made here are locals. There are a few that are third culture. They're from other... Actually, they're not third culture. They're also international students. They're from other countries that are born and raised there for their whole entire life. So not many third culture friends around here. Maybe a couple.
Is there anything that you love about being a third culture kid?
Yeah, there's a lot of things to love about being third culture. You get to learn a lot more of other people's culture, like I said. When I was in my classroom in high school, a lot of them were from different countries, like Philippines, Seychelles, parts of Africa, Egypt. There's a lot of places that I've heard of, and there are a few countries that I've never actually heard of, like what I said, like Seychelles, and you get to learn a lot about their countries and how they do things there. You're a lot more spontaneous as well. You could learn a few things from being spontaneous, and also you get to learn a lot of swear words from other countries too. That's kind of helpful sometimes when you're maybe traveling. So yeah.
So you just traveling and you swear at random people in their language, and that's fun?
No, it's let's say someone is swearing at you and you would know that they're swearing at you. So in that situation you would know how to adapt.
So do you often get sweared at, Sass?
Not really, but there are times, yes. I'm sure everyone does. Yeah.
Can't relate.
That's because you don't learn swear words enough.
No, because most people I know speak English, Sass.
Okay, fine.
Alright, well, is there anything that you absolutely hate about being a third culture kid?
Yeah, there is. A lot of the things I hate about being third culture is that there's a language barrier, and it's very hard to convey what you're trying to say to people. A lot of the times, like if I go back home, when I say home, when I go back to my parents' home, which is Sri Lanka, a lot of the times I would have to ask my parents to talk to my relatives, and it seems kind of like I'm not willing to socialize with them, and it puts me down kind of, because it makes me look like I'm a hypocrite or something. Also, it's hard when I try to talk in my own language. They sometimes laugh at me, and it feels kind of embarrassing because I'm not pronouncing words properly. So yeah, they just laugh at me.
I mean, we can understand, like if someone came up to me and they were talking through their parents, that would be like, oh, they're either really shy or they don't like me.
Yeah, so yeah, that's a problem that I deal with, and it's really hard to gain chemistry with your relatives back home. So yeah.
But you do try to speak that language.
I do. I try as hard as I can, but nowadays I'm not so embarrassed when people laugh at me. I'm kind of used to it by now, because there was this one. I think when I was really young, I went to this shop. And I was asking around for things. I would use like English words, but he wouldn't understand me. So I tried to talk in Sinhalese, which is the native Sri Lankan language, and the guy would act like he understood me, but then he walked me outside the store with my parents, and he said that I was speaking incorrectly, and he was laughing at me, and he asked my parents where I was from. And
did you feel bad?
I did. I was a child. I was really embarrassed. Couldn't he have just helped me correct myself? But no, he was just laughing, and he thought of it as a joke with my parents. So yeah.
But that's what happens, right? When you're mostly speaking in English with people, you kind of forget other words.
Yeah.
Sometimes
sure.
you're even thinking in English, and it's like normal, right?
Yes.
Like I remember one time in school, because everyone around me mostly speaks English, so I decided that I wanted to take Hindi class in school.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to the teacher, and most of the spots were filled. So I think there was no more seats. I just went to her and I'm like, I really want to take your class. And she just looked at me, she's confused. And she's like, but you can't even speak 2 full sentences in Hindi right now. How do you expect to take my class? Mm-hmm. That was really like, okay, but I got A in that class, by the way.
Very good.
Yeah, but it's natural, right? So like if you're just speaking one language, then you continue to speak that language. You get used to it.
Yeah.
Of course.
And another thing that I hate about being third culture is that I don't have the sense of being patriotic to my own country, because I literally have no patriotism to Sri Lanka, because I was not raised there. I don't know much about the culture. Well, I do, but I haven't experienced it enough to call it my own. And so that makes me feel like I have lost a bit of my identity, because a lot of my other friends have this sort of patriotic feeling towards their country, and yeah, that's missing for me.
So would you say you feel bad about that?
Yeah, I do, because it makes me feel like I'm wandering around, just without an identity.
So I think a lot of third culture kids, in fact 50% of third culture kids, have had an identity crisis at some point. Mm-hmm. Do you think that this identity crisis, is it because of what other people are telling you, or because of what you're thinking to yourself?
It is a mix of both, actually, both externally and internally. It affects my identity crisis per se. The external factors would be things like my relatives, how they don't interact well with me, and how I don't interact well with them. We don't have much of a chemistry going on, and it bugs me to not know a lot about my family. Like my grandma's about to pass away soon, and it's like, I mean, I love her, but it's like it's hard to give my feelings towards her, my actual feelings towards her. So yeah, that really hurts. And is that too deep? Yeah, sorry. So things that internally bug me about having this identity crisis is that I don't have the sense of feeling to like support my own country, of their accomplishments and stuff. I don't really feel excited about it, and yeah, that really bugs me. And also, I hate it when people ask me questions like, "Where are you from?" Because it's hard to answer where I'm actually from, because I was born in Bahrain, raised there, but my passport's Sri Lankan. Do I say I'm Sri Lankan? Am I from Bahrain? So yeah, a lot of thought goes into it before I can answer the question.
Right, but that's such a common question, right? Where are you from? We don't really think about it. But that's the point. Like when you're from different cultural backgrounds, you should just explain to them, But sometimes people can be lazy, because I watched a lot of TED Talks, and often what people do is that they choose to identify you with just one culture. So it's not even about you, it's about them. When you tell them you're from 3 different cultures, they just pick one. maybe your mother's culture is the most common. They think is like, okay, you're from Bahrain, is your mom Bahrain? Okay, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's true actually. People would just identify me as Sri Lankan because my parents are also both just fully Sri Lankan, but they left the country before I was born. So yeah, but I don't really feel like I'm actually Sri Lankan.
That's actually very common in America, right? We don't notice that it's common in the rest of the world too, because you go to America and then maybe there's a Chinese person who was born there. His maybe grandparents were also born there, but people still ask them, where are you really from?
Oh yeah, just
Right.
looking at your external features like
Right.
your skin color and stuff. Yeah.
Has anyone ever asked you where are you really from?
Uh,
In Bahrain or in UK?
a lot of times people think I'm from Pakistan. And I don't know where that's from, but yeah.
Do you look like
I don't know.
Pakistani?
I really don't.
Does he? Does he know? I don't think you do.
I don't
If
think
anything, you
I-
look homeless.
Okay.
Is there anything that you wish you could tell people who are not third culture kids and who don't understand third culture kids?
I would say you should give them, you should show them a lot more love and show them how things are around your culture or around you, and be more accepting to the third culture kids. That's mostly what I want to say to the people who aren't third culture.
What about the people who are third culture kids? Because I know that there's a lot of people out there who are struggling, especially with identity crisis.
Yeah. A lot of times I feel like third culture kids can be a little timid and shy to expose themselves, but I think you would just have to dive right in. You would actually have to go in, try to adapt. Make mistakes is fine, just learn from them, that's all.
Is that really? Because mostly when we learn about third culture kids, it's just that they're very outgoing, they love to make friends because they understand different cultures, different cultural backgrounds. But then there's also this factor that most third culture kids would rather stay in their room
Yeah.
on Skype with their friends from back home.
Yeah.
So which side do you lie on?
Me, I lie on a bit of both. Sometimes I like to go out, but a lot of times
That
I
is a
like
lie.
okay. I don't go out that often. I do go out a little bit. I try to go out. I do want to go out,
Okay.
but yes,
With the
I
certain
do.
people.
Yes.
With the certain people. You're
Yeah.
very selective with your friends.
I do stay inside a lot, but I have been improving. I have been pushing myself, going out, being in uncomfortable situations, trying to adapt through it. I'm getting better.
That's actually great. People should step out of their comfort zone more.
For sure, definitely.
For sure, yeah. Well, that was great having you. So thank you for being here, man.
Thanks for having
Thank
me.
you. And we'll see you in the next episode. Bye bye.